Welcome to Season 4, Episode 3 of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. I am Tim, and with me is my co-host Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
I love this! I love it! No, this movie's just okay. But...
I was so concerned. I was so worried, dude. Oh, man.
But I enjoy that line. I love Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Frank Langella.
Yeah, he hammed it up. And that particular moment that you're referencing is the best. Whole scene.
It reminded me of my dude Hammer in the Bronx. Was it 19... whatever it was.
Oh, yeah. Hammer is God, right?
Hammer is God. There's another Hammer is God. I'm like, yeah, Frank! Let's go! I love this!
Yeah, you know, I think watching somebody just enjoying being who they are is always a good time.
One of his 3 favorite performances, he said.
Really?
He said the movie is not good, but I had so much fun playing. I think the movie's fine. He had so much fun playing this part. He said this is one of his 3 favorite performances. This, Skeletor, and Nixon in Frost Nixon.
That's
the most fun.
It's a good list.
He's so good at Skeletor.
He is fantastic.
Skeletor.
It's
God.
Yeah.
It's sick.
He's really good, and the makeup is like surprisingly like awesome.
So much better than the movie. It's stunning.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Masters of the Universe is worth watching just for the Frank Langella parts. Like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I agree. They actually do make it kind of like dark at times. You're like, oh man, like this is like heavy.
It's for kids growing up watching the cartoons, like for like 6 and 8 year olds or whatever they were, watching the cartoons and then seeing Masters of the Universe, the movie, like, why is this for like 13-year-olds? Oh my god,
this is dark.
This is messed up.
It is. Especially, it's like, oh, I'm the main character. My parents died in a plane crash. It's like, what? Why? Why do we need any of that? Like,
yeah. Well, let's talk about this movie, though.
Let's talk about this movie. So
your choice.
No, it is my choice, but I just want to, as we're talking about overall reactions here,
right? Yeah.
Right.
Of what, Tim?
Yeah.
What's the movie?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were trying to stop me there. No. So I felt
we saw Cutthroat Island because Tim.
We saw Cutthroat Island. I'm sorry. We saw Cutthroat Island. And there's something here.
Yeah.
That could have been a good movie.
A really good movie.
And it's a combination of definitely writing and definitely, I think that the director fixated so much, is my impression, on certain things that he just totally just ignored other parts of this movie to a detriment.
I'm going to defend my man Rennie Harlan here. Nope. I am a defender.
Okay.
Rennie Harlan. Rennie Harlan and Gene Davis both knew that this script ain't done. Like, we got to work on this shit.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like they did.
They wanted to, but Carloco, they were like, no, we got a date, and that's it. Like, they were about to go out of business. They put all of their eggs.
I think this did make them go out of business. Yeah, right.
They planned for this. Like, they put all of their eggs in this basket. Like, this had to work, and it had to come out by this date because they sold so many the movie rights and everything like that. So they just had to go. And so like they were like constantly changing the script all throughout production, and you can tell while watching this movie because like, is Dog related to the main character? Is he not?
You definitely get that. Yes,
it doesn't make any sense. Yes, but also, huh?
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later.
Maybe it's like that uncle that is like not blood related, but your uncle.
I actually wrote down, like, is he like our Uncle Doug?
Right. Is that what it is? That's what I'm. Yeah.
Our dad's old college roommate. He's like,
right.
He's Uncle Doug, but he's not really, blood uncle.
Yeah.
But so yeah, they were totally, Mario Kazaar's like, yeah, you got to just get it done, and then like they're about to start getting ready to film, like I think 3 weeks or something like that before production. Michael Douglas is like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You guys not, you know, like you beefed up Gina Davis's part and you've made mine smaller, so I'm not doing this. So then,
oh, I didn't know Michael Douglas was in this.
Michael Douglas was supposed to be the star of this movie. He's supposed to be the Matthew Modine part.
Wow.
Right, and then he's like, I'm done. I'm out. So Rennie Harlan has to like basically leave all the pre-production stuff and get the movie ready and figure out who's going to be his male lead.
Interesting.
Oh, it's so essentially they pick Matthew Modine for two reasons, I think. One, apparently he has some kind of fencing experience, which he's good with the sword in this movie for the little they get to use him in.
Very little, but yeah.
He is 6'3". So they can
good against Gina Davis.
Yeah, they can put him against Gina Davis, and Gina Davis can wear like heels next to him and look plausible together.
Right. Yeah, it would have been harder with Michael Douglas.
Also, third, probably most importantly, he is cheap.
Yeah.
At this time, yeah.
Yeah, at this time, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he's ever really. Yeah, exactly. I feel like most people are just gonna know him now for Stranger Things. Like that's it. Like that's gonna be the modern connection for people.
I'll always know him from Nick's Celebrity Row.
I mean that's fair, but I mean also bias and certain perspective. But yes, it's like I think
some might say Full Metal Jacket. I'll say Nick's Celebrity Row.
Sure, but if you're talking about like a Gen Zer or something like that, they're gonna be like Stranger Things or something. That's just where they can know him from.
It's fine.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's fine.
Know him from that.
But so anyway, so we saw Cutthroat Island, and this is a disturbing movie.
Yeah. So it's not disturbing. They knew the script wasn't done. Even after Michael Douglas had been backed out, they're like Gina Davis and Rennie Harlan were like begging, like, can we not do this movie? Like,
really?
This isn't gonna work out. Like this, we don't have enough time to make this thing actually make sense and work perfectly. The script isn't there yet. And Merrick's like, nope, sorry, pre-sold everything. We got to just go. And it's like, shit. So
it's weird though, because sometimes you can get good stuff out of stuff like that. And that just did not happen this time.
Sometimes, necessity becomes the mother of invention, but they just weird. Rennie Harlan was a guy who's like, he coming off a cliffhanger. Yeah, spared no expense. Mario Kazaar was always a guy who spared no expense. You have all these people who are like spared no expense to a company that's already in trouble, leads to disaster.
Yeah.
So, for instance, while the script problems are not done yet, they have to fix the script, which clearly ever gets done. Rennie has to leave pre-production to go find his male lead. Mario Kazaar decides to take it upon himself to start building sets in Thailand and in LA. And when Rennie is done figuring out who his male lead is, like, yeah, these sets aren't going to work for what I had planned. So they have to redo sets. And there was these all of the costumes. Sorry, we have to build all new costumes. We can't use any old costumes from other productions you might have done. And we have to make like a bunch of different ones because we're gonna be doing lots of stunts in these costumes, so they're gonna get dirty, and we're gonna have to keep on making new ones. And it's like, it's so expensive. And Matthew Modine tells a funny story where like Gina Davis and Rennie Harlan, who were like freshly married at the time, wanted V8, and I don't know whose idea it was, but like they just sent cases and cases of V8 to them out on location in Thailand. And then at the end of the production, there was an entire room filled with V8 they were just giving out to free to people in production.
Wow.
So it's like, and Rennie Harlan, I'm not doing miniatures in this movie. I need full pirate ships. And I'm blowing up an actual pirate ship in this movie, a full ship. No miniatures. I'm blowing up a ship. It's like, yeah. Looks great on screen. Cool, it looks awesome on screen to blow up that ship. Yeah. But we could have saved a lot of money.
Yeah. And you know what? Don't disparage miniature work, because there's some great stuff with miniatures. Really is. Look at Independence Day.
You know me. I'm a huge
in the same era. Guy. Yeah, for sure. We talked about it in previous season. Yeah.
I love miniatures, but at the same time, it's like, I admire the ambition. Like, God bless.
For sure.
You made a pirate ship and blew it up. That's awesome.
Let's blow it up. Yeah.
So yeah, that's Cutthroat Island. I mean, Mario Kazaar, Carloco Pictures, like 1991, they came out with Terminator 2, right? Massive hit.
Huge.
Made like $540 million at the box office in 1991. That's like $1.2 billion today.
Wow.
But to make that movie happen, right? They had to buy the film rights from the previous production company. So it was like $5 million. Then they had to pay Arnold Schwarzenegger $14 million. And then as a gift, they gave Arnold Schwarzenegger a jet, which was $17 million.
Sure.
Then they had to pay James Cameron. Then they had to sell the movie rights and stuff like. So by the time the movie was done and a massive hit, for the first 9 months of the movie out, Carloco Pictures was like $91 million at a loss. So I was like, this is the kind of stuff they were doing. Like they were giving massive deals to Stallone on Cliffhanger too, and Michael Douglas got like $15 million for Basic Instinct. It's like, so
just not smart. They just didn't make enough
they were
back.
just like throwing all this money around and like, yeah, the numbers are huge, but you're not making the bank. So when Cutthroat Island came around, and they made all these tiny pictures, small pictures too, and none of them made any money. Some of them were really good, but like all of them lost. So like losses all the place, and then Cutthroat Island happened, like, and it's done. It's done.
Well, I mean, it makes it. I don't know. Like, I guess it's you. At first, I only knew that this movie destroyed it.
Right.
So I didn't know the backstory of that there was so much context to things to follow up to make it. So that thank you. That's new. So I guess finally, yes, it's Cutthroat Island, and it's basically a pirate treasure adventure movie, right? So the basic gist is she gets a map from her deceased father, and now she's got to go find 2 more pieces of that map, and she gets somebody that's going to help her read the map, and they're going to go find this treasure. And there's an uncle / maybe not uncle villain, and there's also the British out to get her to prevent her from accomplishing her mission. That is the gist of the movie.
Goddamn British. Yeah, Cutthroat Island.
Yeah.
So our hero is Morgan Adams, the notorious lady pirate.
That's it did exist.
That's what I'm laughing about. Like the notorious lady pirate. Like, yeah, there are lots of lady pirates. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they're calling her the notorious lady pirate.
Right.
Played by Gina Davis, who has just one of the all-time great Hollywood smiles. Just
for sure.
Maybe on the Hall of Fame Hollywood smiles.
It's insane because she is so charismatic. She's so freaking likable. She's a great actress. Mm-hmm. And you could tell she's really trying, but there's just nothing here. And the dialogue for this movie is really, really bad. Like it is epic bad. And it's like she can't even do anything to save it, or I don't know if her husband just didn't do another. Like, let's try that differently. Because there's so many times for her character specifically, I'm like, oh,
yeah, no,
that was rough.
Especially early on, there is some like placeholder dialogue that they just never could figure out how to replace.
And some stuff that just doesn't sound natural.
No, a lot of
that they just like, yeah, we'll just let that fly, and it's like, why are we letting that fly? Like, there's no reason to let that go. And like, you could easily do 2 other takes and let that be said. So it's like weird where sometimes they want them to talk normal, and then other times they're like, no, sound more old timey. And it's like,
okay,
what?
Let's get into that for a second, real quick.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite things that I just noticed in this movie. This movie takes place in, I'm sorry, I wrote it down in my notes app here. 1668. 108 years before 1776. The United States does not exist yet, but we have so many actors in this movie with American accents.
Sure, but I can
Which you can let go. You can let go normally.
But you can't flip-flop. You can't go to old-timey one style and then go normal speaking the next.
What's especially funny is at one point in this movie, she decides to throw on a Southern accent to like, pretending to be like a Southern belle to like someone like, oh, I can act proper. Like,
Right.
Like, what? We're going with the wind now? What are we doing?
Yeah. None of it tracks. Like, it's just like, excuse me? Like, it's just... So it's bizarre.
We got her, Gina Davis. I don't know. Where's Gina from? California? I don't know. Actually, I'm going to look that up real quick.
That I don't know.
Gina Davis, who, impeccable actress. I'm not going to...
Yes. Again, she's charismatic. She's lovely. She
Massachusetts. She's a masshole.
Okay.
So you got
she's
her.
great. It's just this is unfortunate.
Matthew Modine. That's a California dude, right?
No,
he's from New York.
No. Oh, he's got to be New York, right? Because he's a Knicks guy.
Yeah. You don't choose the Knicks. You're born to the Knicks.
That's very true.
No, he is a California guy. He just moved to New York.
Became a Knicks fan. He just moved to New York. He's just a New York actor, and then became a Knicks guy. Probably
it happens. Billy Crystal became a Clippers fan. It can happen.
Fair enough.
But then you have Christopher Masterson, another California kid, and Frank Langella, who is from who's from New Jersey. For Christopher Masterson, it was rough. Frank Langella's from New Jersey, but always sounded vaguely foreign at the same time. He's a very cool speaking voice. And then like the quartermaster on the ship, Mr. Blair, who is got a thick Texan accent. He always does. Yeah, it's like Texas doesn't exist. Where's his accent coming from, man?
Yeah, I know. And then who's the other guy that always seems to be her right hand? That seems to be always there. Forgetting his name.
Maury?
He's got an unfortunate accent too. I don't know what he's trying to do.
You're talking about Stan Shaw, Mr. Glasspool. He's doing a Jamaican accent. At least he's trying.
Sometimes, but then it's not, and it's something else, and there's a whole weird mashup of things he's trying. It sounds like
the accent game in this movie is very funny considering the time period they decided to set it in.
Yes,
but
it's bizarre.
Anyway, back to Morgan.
Yes,
she's the daughter of a pirate captain. Black Harry Adams, and niece to Captain Mordecai Adam, and I guess Richard. I don't know who Richard was. He was. Dog Brown says that was his brother. We'll get into that later. But suppose it might also be the niece to Dog Brown, Douglas Brown, Dog Brown. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's blood there or what.
I don't know.
Dog murdered her dad for a treasure, and Morgan has to rally her father's ship to her and claim the treasure for herself.
Right, because it sounds like, and I don't think we completely got this, but piecing things as you go throughout the movie, I think it's her grandfather is the one.
I was unclear on this too. Yeah,
I think it's the grandfather that found this Spanish treasure on a Spanish ship or something, and moved it to this island, and then he split up the map between his sons, is what I'm thinking.
Right.
And so each one has a piece, and now Dog here is trying to get the other pieces to reclaim it for himself.
But in the beginning of the movie, Dog says, his map, he's like, I took this off my brother Richard.
Right.
But his blood is still in the borders. I'm like, so are you not one of the brothers?
Or he's like the brother that never got a piece? I like these sons more?
Telling yourself your uncle to...
Yeah.
Morgan, I don't know. Regardless, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's still just like...
I feel like if you ignore a couple of the lines in the beginning, it's fine. It's like some
key.
lines that just needed to be removed.
That's key.
Yeah.
We first meet Morgan pulling up her pants after a night of debaucherous fun with a fancy lad.
Yeah.
Fancy lad was pretending she wasn't a wanted pirate, but Morgan knew that he knew and made sure to remove the bullets of his gun and give them to her.
I think the monkey did. Yeah.
No. She took the bullets and gave them to the monkey.
Oh, I thought the monkey was giving it to her. Okay.
I think you give too much to the credit to the monkey.
I don't think it matters.
Anyway, the monkey's name is King Charles. We like King Charles. And
although he doesn't quite like listening to her, you kind of get the gist of.
He loves her. He will listen to her when it matters. Very much like my dog.
Sure.
And I will kill you. She tells him, "I took your balls." It's a solid intro. It's like a nice James Bond vibe going on.
It is, Captain Morgan. And it's a well-delivered line. That's like what we know Gina Davis is capable of, and there's not a whole lot of it throughout the rest of the movie.
She gets some cool pirate costumes in this, though.
She does. Although they have her looking more schleppy kind of in the kind of beginning parts, and then they get her to look more like traditional piratey later on.
Yeah. As the movie goes on, the more elaborate her costumes become. I had to laugh at the prostitute costume, the sex worker costume, making her look extra buxomy. It's like, all right.
Yeah, they had push-up bras back then.
Sure did. Well, we knew that from corsets, but like this is a miracle of a corset.
Well, this is different because like there's one point where she's wearing like a very loose, wet shirt, but she's like basically wearing something to. It's like one of those things where they do a wrap
Right.
You know what I mean? So
they kept those babies on lockdown.
Yeah.
Morgan is good in a fight, especially with a sword. Gina Davis.
That's
is very
when
good with
she
a sword
was at her best, for
I agree.
sure.
She's clever, figuring out map clues, has a quick wit, and is okay at reading people.
And she's horny,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, she's pretty.
She knows she can more or less trust Shaw, who we'll talk about later, or at least trust him to do exactly what she knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Like hide part of the map he found. She can also see through most of his bullshit better than most anyone else in this movie. Knows he's not a doctor as he claims to be, but trusts that he can manage her surgery better than anyone else on her ship.
Right.
Her lack of experience as a captain leads her to trust untrustworthy people like Scully and Reed. It's unfortunate.
To be fair, it's supposed to be part of her father's crew that she's told that she's got to win over. So I guess she's not gonna. Because I guess she wasn't always around the dad and his crew. Because you kind of get because he's got to say like, hey, you got to win over the crew and take over, and she wasn't around the crew because I guess she was called back to her dad and she was too busy having fun.
I think she was just out on the town or whatever having fun.
Yeah, because she was kind of like, oh, I know he called for me. I was gonna get there and didn't realize he was like in real trouble or something.
Right. I think but she's definitely got serious loyalty from Glasspool and
yes,
whatever Masterson. I think Mr. Bowen.
I think that's right. Yeah.
But like we were saying before, as far as physicality in this, mostly pretty damn good, especially with the sword. I think early on it looks rough because of the shoes that they have her wearing, like those traditional like heels.
To be honest, too, she can ride the hell out of a horse as well.
She looks so good in the beginning of the movie.
The beginning of the movie is gorgeous.
Like
to be
damn
honest.
Sandals.
Yeah, well, that's why I was wondering. There's a few times with some of the way the things were shot that I was like, this is clearly where more of the focus went.
This is what I'm saying. Rennie Harlan can shoot the hell out of a movie. He knows what he's doing.
He can make things look pretty, but
this is why I'm not blaming him for this movie at all.
I mean, now that you give me the backdrop, but it's just like it's really still pretty rough.
Context matters. He did the best he could with the time he had and the script that he had going. But yeah, it would have been nice if. I think he spent like $1 million of his own dollars in something. I forget what it was. I didn't write.
Because every once in a while, where you're like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," or "That's pretty," and then you get some of the dialogue or plot things, you're like, or what, and then it just sucks you completely out.
No, it's just like,
and it's constant. It is throughout the movie, moments like that.
I think it's worse in the beginning and it gets better as it goes on. But that's just one man's opinion.
Dialogue-wise, I disagree with you.
Okay.
It's pretty consistently rough.
It's Gina Davis. I can't give her any lower than a 3 for this category.
Okay, we're already going to. Oops, sorry. We're already going to that. Okay.
Yeah.
I have it. Sorry, I did not. I was not ready to stop talking about the category. My bad.
Oh.
I have it as 2.
2?
I have it at 2.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a full point lower.
All right, you're gonna have to watch 3 League of Their Owns and 4 Long Kiss Goodnights as a recompense of this.
I like and love those movies, and I have no problem rewatching those movies. And I said this before. I know what she's capable of. I know she's good, but her dialogue in particular in this movie is the most consistently rough. And to be fair, she's front and center. Like, she's doing most of the talking. She's doing most of everything. So she's just got to, just by reps alone, she might have the most rough stuff. But it's pretty bad at times where it's like, oh my gosh, you sound terrible there. And it's just, it's rough. It's way too rough that I had to go that low.
It's really just like all like the kiss off lines, like the traditional like Bond Arnold lines, like after like big action scenes are just like, that doesn't work at all. That's terrible.
Yeah, anytime they're trying to make her out to be this kind of badass, a lot of the times is where it sounds the roughest. Or like the whole battle sequence where she just keeps, men do this, men that, men, and it's just like, oh, please stop. Like, get her to stop talking. Like it's just.
She has some good repertoire with Matthew Modine in scenes and stuff too. Like when they're hanging from the cliff and she's like, you know, he's like suggesting 50-50. She's like 60-40. He's like holding her for like. She's very funny in that.
But to be fair, I actually think Matthew Modine is doing a better job in those moments.
Fascinating.
yes, then I think she is.
I thought I was going to have to be on here defending Matthew Modine the whole time. So
no, I actually think Modine is better in this movie than she is. Wow. I think she is better as an actress. Like I know she is. I know she's done a lot better stuff. Like
don't say anything negative about Matthew Modine. I won't allow it.
I'm not. I'm just saying that's how highly I do think of Gina Davis. I really do.
All right.
I just think this is some of the worst stuff I've ever seen her do. It's really bad. And again, maybe just the script and just they just went and did it, and it's unfortunate what she was asked to do, and maybe nobody can save what she was doing. Credit
to her too. She did like 90% of her own stunts in all this.
I was wondering that because a lot of it I was like, that looked like she was legitimately doing it. I know she's like somewhat of an athlete herself and was like an Olympic archer or almost qualified or something. Yeah, like I know she's legit and again like there was some of the sword fighting end part of this movie is actually really good.
Yeah, that's her. You can tell it's that. Oh, that is. Good.
And then when she whips out like the dagger sword with the sword stuff, and there was some moves there, I was like, "Wow, this is actually really good." So like, don't get me wrong, there's some good stuff. That's why I wasn't going to go lower, but it was too bad. Some of the dialogue was it was so bad for me. I literally had to pause the movie a couple of times, like, "Oh my gosh, the dialogue!" Like I kept doing that, so that's why I couldn't justify going higher.
She had to read the words on the page. It's not her fault. All right. Moving on to villain.
Yes.
Our villain is Dog Brown.
Dog Brown.
Played by Frank Langella, one of the all-time great bad guy actors.
Yeah.
I mean...
And he's having so much fun.
Delicious.
And the movie is better every time he's on screen.
I agree.
It's just instantly better. And he's like a legit, like, pretty good villain. Like, I know I might be jumping, but my favorite scene after the I love it,
I love this. I love it.
It's just so good. But after that, there's a great scene where he gets on his ship after wanting to chase after her.
You are jumping ahead, yes.
I have to. It's such a good part. It's so good.
All right.
And
it's trailer moment, so go ahead.
Is it? You watched the trailer. I did not watch the trailer.
Well, you know why I watched the trailer? Because I was reading through the IMDb trivia, and it mentioned that they used two pieces of music in the trailer. One is the theme from Army of Darkness.
Oh, okay.
And the other is the 1812 orchestra by Tchaikovsky. I was like, oh, okay, the Army of Darkness theme. I got to hear this. And I was like, this is so much better than the music they had in the movie.
Yeah. So... Anyway, he's got to chase after her, and he's like, "Let's go, like pull anchor, like let's get a move on, basically." And like one of his mates, I don't know who it was, because he doesn't last long. It's like there's not enough food. Like we need more food. There's not enough for all the men we have, and he just freaking shoots and kills him dead. Right?
We can't leave yet, Captain. We don't have enough food on board. We need less mouths.
Just shoots and kills him.
Yeah.
Now we have less mouths or whatever, and it's just and then just cuts the anchor loose himself too, to get going, and it's badass and it's awesome, and it's just like I already dig this villain. This is great.
So Frank Langella, also a legit 6'3", so someone who could actually tower over
dude,
Gina Davis and everyone else in this movie.
But I like too, like because even in his fighting. He almost kind of like hunches over, like he's like already kind of like I'm coming for you in like all of his action, and I'm like I love this. He's so imposing.
This is one of my things that I thought was funny in the movie. Is Frank Langella swinging his sword, his cutlass? Oh, yeah. He swings it like a broadsword.
Yeah,
I was like,
and it's a weird like.
Oh, that sword is cool looking. It is
saw-looking thing.
Yeah, it's all jagged on the front and the back. I'm like, cool. Doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
Not at all, but okay.
Also, you should not be swinging the sword that way because it's not that kind of sword, but still cool as hell. Makes you look extra strong.
Sure.
Anyway, Dog is the captain of the Reaper, which is just a great pirate ship name.
Yeah.
The youngest and meanest of the Addams brothers, maybe.
I guess so. Yeah.
You said the grandfather wasn't clear on the split treasure map, how that goes, but
I think there was a line that kind of got there, if I remember correctly.
probably right. Dog is hunting for each part of the map to Cutthroat Island, so he will kill everyone in his path, including his own family members.
He does not care.
And just like
his own men shoots him dead. Like he does not care.
And Frank's got so many great lines that he's just like, oh, he's eating.
He's just chewing it up.
Come back on board. I'm going to split you wide open.
Just the whole, like, even again, sorry to jump forward too. There's like another like dialogue where he's talking about his eventual goal of becoming governor.
Yeah,
and he's got the British soldier on there because he's trying to study him.
Yes,
and it's a great scene.
Mr. Trotter, Mr. Trotter, Mr. Trotter.
Yeah, and he's doing. I love it. Every second of that is great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed the guy bumping into Dog while he has a knife to Mordecai, which makes Dog accidentally stab Mordecai.
Yeah, kills his brother.
Dog grabs the guy. He's like, "Hey, you killed my brother," and slices his throat.
I thought he said you made me kill my brher or something, but yeah.
No, it's just you killed my brother, and it
just kills him immediately, which I think again was another one of his men.
I don't know.
Does not give a crap.
No.
Yeah.
And then just like the way the interplay between him and Gina, like when they actually are like near each other during the fight scene in the Mordecai's bar.
Yeah.
And he's just like, always flinched when you saw your Uncle Douglas, didn't you? And you just see like, it's like, yeah. It's like, it's like, ooh, it was extra menacing in that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the context of this. I just wrote this down, but Uncle Dog will have his day.
It's so disturbing when he's like, I remember when you were on my lap and stuff was like,
that was your bounce. I bounced you on my knee.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like any of the way this is coming off, but it's exactly what makes him like a pretty cool villain.
Yeah. I love the part where Mutineer Scully cuts a deal for himself with Dog, who is now at the island, and brags that his piece of the map is the only one that shows where the treasure site is.
Yeah.
And he's like, my piece. And just starts like kissing it.
Oh, yeah. That was weird.
That was great.
Or when Matthew Modine steals his map or whatever.
Bitch stole my map!
Yeah, he thinks it's her. It comes out all mad. It's like, that's another fun part.
Plus, when he talks to Scully, he's grateful to you, Mr. Scully. But if you were disloyal to me the way you were to Morgan, I'll cook you and eat you. Now get out of my eyes. I can't do justice to Frank Langella's growl. I haven't smoked
the whole gravel voice that he has, and it's just awesome.
I love when he's like just making fun when like Morgan and Shaw are hanging by the rope off the cliff, and they're like chatting it up, and he's like, they have a lot to say about each other, don't they?
It's so weird. I thought that part was so weird.
I laughed. I was like, great. Like, you guys are hanging for your lives. You're having a whole conversation right now. It's great. And then they let go and they fall, and he's like, love, who can explain it?
Yeah. Do we at some point talk about his death here, or do we do it later?
I think we do that in action.
Okay.
So you got at the beginning of the final battle between Reaper and the Morning Star, and he's just super pumped, like
he's excited.
It's game day. It's Sunday for him. This is what he wants. Like, I love this. I love it.
This is what being a pirate's all about, basically.
Yeah, this is what I'm in this game for.
He could not be any more pirate. Like, he is the embodiment of it.
He gets onto the Morning Star, the opposing ship. He's like, who wants to die first? I'm like, let's go.
I'm already afraid how high you're going to go here.
3.5. I went 3.5 because there's just not enough of him in this movie.
That's why I went 3.
Okay. Well, we're very close to each other.
We are close to the wood. He's the best part of this movie, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I have possibly an equal score in this next category. I do
not.
Action. Okay. The movie opens with Gina Davis looking fucking awesome riding a horse on the beaches of Thailand.
If you're going to consider this action, I guess sure. It looks gorgeous.
It's Gina riding the horse. Cool. It's Gina jumping off the horse onto that guy and doing a forward somersault.
I feel like a big part of this movie, though, a lot of times is they do a whole lot trying to convince you how epic this movie is, when it maybe it isn't always so epic, but they're like, but I put in the right touches to make you think it is. Like, it's epic. And it's just like, I got the epic music. They're doing epic, like, poses and stances. Like, this is epic. And it's like, I don't think so.
All right. You couldn't name, like, you couldn't name 5 other action actors who could ride a horse better than Gina Davis could in the beginning of this movie.
I mean,
and
what,
if you
you're
were
calling her like the Tom Cruise runner, like horse-wise? Is that what
I might.
Yeah?
I might. We need to put Gina Davis in a horse into the movie.
I guess we need to put her on more horses.
She looks incredible on a horse.
For her?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is
I
there?
don't see it.
We need to find it?
They could just, like, recut this for, like, a Sandals vacation video. Like, she looks incredible riding a horse.
Right. And then, like, she's looking great riding on the horse. And then all of a sudden there's a sandbar, so she goes from island to island still on the horse.
She sees this guy, like, who's, like, got, like, the rowboat, and she jumps on him, and she does, it's her doing the full forward
yeah, that was nice.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but wonder if they ran into the Mortal Kombat crew while they were filming this movie.
That would have been funny. Yeah.
This one doesn't really count, but I just want to point it out. Dog is making Black Harry, Morgan's dad, walk the plank for his share of the map, and instead of letting Dog have it, Harry jumps off and ties himself to the anchor. Morgan has just rowed to her dad and dives after him, and somehow she has a knife in her mouth now.
Oh yeah,
which didn't exist
I think there's
ago.
a quick shot of her putting it in her mouth.
I don't think there is, but
yeah. Okay.
God bless if there is.
Fair enough.
Anyway, she looks cool as hell cutting him loose with, like, the knife in her mouth going down. Like,
at least that part going down, yeah.
Right, a lot of this movie, I'm like, oh, this shot looks really cool. It's like, oh yeah, this is what it would look like if Errol Flynn was making a movie today. This is great.
Clearly, he didn't need to have a peg leg, but they just did that as a visual. Like, hey, it'd be cool.
I don't think we ever see
2 seconds. No, we do see like.
Do we see the
2
peg
seconds
again?
No, I think you just see him.
Yeah, I think it's just like always at the plank, and I think we never
on the plank. Yeah, and that's about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like something they just did. Like, oh, you know what would have been cool if we had a peg leg?
Can I have a peg leg? Sure.
No, it's more like, oh, what if that character had a peg leg? We didn't have a peg leg in this movie. All right, well, we only cut him from the top up. We'll just make sure everything is from waist up.
Right.
And we'll just throw a peg leg in there, so there's a peg leg in the movie.
Can you imagine scalping your own father?
I cannot. But that is a metal thing to do. To get a treasure map.
You gotta, not only do you have to scalp, but you also have to shave the hair off and then scalp, I guess.
I love later on, Modine's got the map. He's like, is this like pigskin? Oh, long pig. Sold to the lady with the monkey. Just a fun thing to hear someone say out loud. It just is.
Sure.
Morgan wins Shaw at a slave auction because he can speak Latin and can translate her father's map.
Right.
Pause for a second. I'll get into the whole action scene, which is fairly good, in a second. But the problem is that during this whole action scene, they go by a Catholic dead saint parade or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Yeah. Which the priest is speaking Latin in the march. Which lets the audience know, like, you could have just gone to any old priest anywhere in the Caribbean and just had him translate the map.
Not being Latin too, it was just shit. Stuff was just backwards.
I think it was also Latin and backwards.
It's a combination. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm being kind here because he references the Latin thing again.
Yeah,
unclear on that, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, back to the action scene. So a guard somehow recognizes Morgan from a wanted poster, which doesn't even have Gina Davis's trademark mole. So, bullshit. But boom, first action scene. First big action scene.
You're right. It's a whole set piece.
So at first it looks bad because Gina Davis, I think it's because of the shoes. She can't really move in these shoes.
I think she's still in a dress because she doesn't lose the skirt till the fall.
Right, she's in the skirt, but I don't think it's the skirt. I think it's the shoes. Like the shitty little, like, you know...
Right, I'm sure it's just a skirt in general is not great either. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
The 17th century weird-ass heels that they had to wear.
Right. Because she's supposed to be looking like a proper lady or whatever. Because at some point,
later in the action scene, she loses the shoes and she's moving a lot better.
I think she's almost barefoot, it looks like, at one point.
Actually, I think it's the tell is like if it's barefoot, it's a stunt person, and if it's Gina Davis, they're in the shoes.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, where we go? Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Like,
this is, by the way, where, and we can come back, but this, during some of the action stuff, is where Modine's at his worst.
Oh yeah, well it's like all these kiss off lines. They're just like these are like
that are just like, but I'm this pompous, like, oh, this is a fun afternoon, you know, like that kind of stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, stop.
well, it's just like this. Is this the line we're going with? Really? Like
yeah, like but it's all in the vein of this is not my normal Thursday, like that kind of stuff. You know, like it's just eye roll worthy.
This is
like,
where I will complain about Rennie Harlan because I don't think he gave Modine the correct direction for this movie. Because there are times where like Modine absolutely nails it, and there are times where I'm like, are we in a Disney movie or are we in a PG-13 movie?
Yeah,
because this just feels Disney instead
it's
of
that
PG-13.
kind of stuff when he does that where it doesn't work. But then there's other times it's kind of funny that you say Michael Douglas was originally attached, but there's some Michael Douglas kind of I can do this with a smirk kind of thing that he actually can pull off. Works.
That's what, because I know he can pull stuff off later in the movie. The stuff that bothered me in the beginning of the movie makes me think he got the wrong direction of what they wanted his character to have been.
Especially in this action scene, that's why I wanted to bring it up. Even though we probably should talk about him later, but I just didn't want to forget about it.
It's fine. Yeah,
this action sequence, he sucked me out at times because
her too. Because the lines that they give her is just like
so bad.
Right.
Oh, how about the? Yeah, we'll get to it. You're gonna get to it.
Let's concentrate on the action.
The scene. It's the scene. It's the big thing.
One good punch in the beginning for her, but then like she does an action with the shovel and it looks just terrible.
Yeah, because it's like she like throws it, but it perfectly goes in, and the force is off, and
it's really shocking considering like Tim and I like worship Long Kiss Goodnight, so it's like
it's really
why is
good.
Gina Davis not good at action in the beginning of this movie? This is weird.
Yeah, it's not.
But they do like a classic Bond maneuver where like, you know, cut some rope and go really high up on some scaffolding. Then they go through scaffolding on the other side of the building, which looks pretty good. Clearly some real people going down some scaffolding, just like through the floors. It's a little slow.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not sure if it's actually Gina Davis. I didn't check the feet for the shoes. But like when they're on top of the carriage, the punches are starting to look a lot better. It's all from the back of her head, so I'm assuming it's not her, but still. Yeah,
there's. I have to say this movie loves a right cross.
She looks good with the right cross.
There's a lot of right cross moves like throughout this whole movie. It's like the same gist over and over again.
It'd be weird if she started doing judo.
For sure, you're right.
But there is like one amazing shot in this sequence.
If it's what I think it is, I like it, and I have problems with it at the same time.
The kiss-off line at the end just destroys it. But
it's really bad. But also, it's kind of ridiculous.
Regardless.
That somehow she runs through this freaking store.
Morgan,
he's got to cut over to basically the sidewalk with an overhang.
Low hang. So she has to jump onto the roof and run through a shop, a lady's shop or whatever, jump out another window, and roll over the roof thing and then land right into the seat of the carriage. It looks perfect. There's clearly
the whole idea of her going through the shop and somehow lining it up, the way they shot it, awful. The way they shot her actually coming out the window and rolling and landing, awesome.
Amazing.
It's really good.
I had to rewind it again. Like,
setup
that's
before
so good.
that is terrible.
Well,
and the land is great, and then the line right after it is awful. So it's like sandwiched between terribleness.
I must
is my problem with
when
it.
I have more time.
Yes.
That's the line
real
we landed
bad.
On?
Yeah.
That's it?
And I think, too, like it's weird because she does have this great smile, but it doesn't land with the line and stuff. It's like, wait a minute, what am I in? What is this? Like, it just doesn't, like, none of it gels. And so that's why it's weird. So that's why it's sandwiched in an awfulness. But the one stunt is great.
Yeah, it's a really good stunt.
It's really cool.
Regardless, you don't have much time to really complain about that because then explosions! An entire English ship is firing on
its own town?
Yeah.
Why are they blowing the hell out of their own town?
I find myself being fired upon by an entire ship. It's a terrible line,
It's terrible.
Explosions are fun.
And then you keep getting the you really know how to destroy a town or whatever, just like the last one, Mrs. It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah.
Yeah, this movie plays fast and loose with the rules of cannonballs.
For sure.
Cannonballs,
sometimes they explode, sometimes stuff breaks apart.
Cannonballs don't explode.
They don't. Nope.
They're not bombs. But
I guess what are they throwing themselves into that is exploding? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Don't think about it too hard.
Boom.
Because
boom,
this
boom,
isn't
boom.
even the worst occurrence of explosions for no
That's
reason.
That's true. Oh, yeah.
That comes next.
The Langella fight later on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah.
Which we're going now. Dog found Morgan at Mordecai's hangout.
Yep.
And a chain whip! Like in Castlevania 2.
I was like, wait a minute, are we now in an anime featuring pirates? Because I want more of this.
I was so excited to see the chain whip. I haven't seen a chain whip in live action. I was like, oh, like Castlevania 2, the chain whip. This
usually
is
you get a hook when you have a missing hand as a pirate. Nope, this guy gets a metal contraption to give him a whip that's tied to his
Snellgrave for the win. That is awesome.
Okay. Because it's a good little bit where like she gets like chained to her neck and brought down, and actually that looked good.
You thought the fall looked good? I thought the fall looked good.
I thought the fall looked good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It looked like rear production badness to me, but I was like, chain whip, I don't care.
No, her actual falling, no. I like the look of the physicality of the chain going around and then like her down. I thought all that looked good. You're right on the actual fall itself.
Yeah, that's right. But like good news, Gina now has a sword, and Gina can throw down with the sword.
Yeah.
So much more comfortable with the sword in her hand. She's clearly had a lot of training with the sword.
Yeah.
I love the part where like Morgan compliments Willie's swordsmanship, but tells him to stop diddling and kill the man. And he's like,
but he doesn't know how, so she's got to help him.
She was like, "Oh, thank you for the compliments. I was trained by the Grand Master in Venice or whatever." And she's like, kill the man." He's like, "We never covered that part." And she just like smacks his arm and shoves the sword into the guy. Like, "Oh, I see."
Yeah. But that one I thought was like a little like that was.
I liked that.
You didn't. Good. You like that one? That one actually I thought came off wrong.
This next part is where it comes like crazy because then
her men show up.
No, that not.
You're not there yet.
I don't even care about that part. I'm fast forwarding past that.
You're fast forwarding because that's the part
I see
what
you're talking about the men outside.
Her men show up to save her.
Before that.
Okay.
So before that, Morgan cuts the chandelier.
Oh yeah.
Which drops down, which I guess hits a barrel of ale, which causes an explosion. Which is like they might as well set off C4 in this place. It's so big.
Well, I mean, it's weird too because you had earlier you had him undo the gun to make black powder go that like started this whole thing off with an explosion. It's like, but how is that not a bigger explosion than the one that happens that you're talking about?
Little candle somehow hits ale, a barrel of ale, so gently, and boom, like C4. But it gets better because then Morgan's men show up. Quartermaster Blair has a handheld cannon.
Yeah.
It also seems to be like the grenade launcher from Expendables, Terry Crews's grenade launcher.
Right.
He's
That's
like,
exactly right.
Boom! House blows up. Boom! House blows up. I'm like, that's not how that works, but okay.
That was my note. It was like, what weapons are these? How are they making this many explosions?
Notice throughout all this action scene, and Gina's doing some like fine jumping and sword fighting here.
Sure.
She has no shoes on. It's just stockings. I swear, I really hope they put some padding in her feet for that because
probably did
not comfortable.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I probably shouldn't have put it here, but whatever. Shaw, who claims to be a doctor, is taking out the bullet from Morgan's stomach.
Yeah, shouldn't go here, but sure. I'll allow it.
Morgan is shouting "ow" like she's taking out a splinter.
Yep. I guess she had enough rum. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing surgery on your abdominal, but your abdomen, but like ow. That's nice.
Yeah, it's the best anybody's kind of had with that kind of a surgery. I mean, a lot of this doesn't make any sense too, right? Because so clearly he doesn't know what he's doing. He manages to remove the bullet, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna put a bandage here now and wrap it. You're good now. It's like, no, she's got a giant hole in her gut.
Yeah.
Nope.
This is where the guy with like the flaming sword should have come in and cauterized that wound up or something.
Right, exactly, or something. That would have actually made a little bit more sense.
If you're not going to stitch it, let's bring that guy in.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much action she's able to do for like the rest of the movie, even with that. Although, like way towards the end, all of a sudden she's holding her gun again. It's like, oh, you remember that's there?
Yeah, you remember you have an open wound in your gut. Whatever. I don't care.
Especially digging around for that kind of a bullet. It's got a good hole.
Yeah, I don't care though, because this is actually like Matthew Modine's best scene, where him and Gina Davis displaying genuine
it's where the most
chemistry between each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, so Modine can produce sex in this movie. There is sex going on with these guys talking to each other, and they start making out. And
although it's weird,
Showa gets carried away and starts reaching down, and like, oh, I just touched her open wound. And she's like, ow! And like, magic over.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like
I enjoyed the faces on the monkey the whole time.
She's got a giant hole in her.
Yeah.
Right. She just drank a bunch of rum. Clearly, there should have been a lot of blood and clearly painful, but she's still somehow completely horned up during this entire moment. It's like, that is a whole other level of horny.
No. She is not horned up.
She is.
She is seducing him because she wants the map that he's stolen.
Oh, so you think she's in all that pain? This RO plan? Okay,
that's just because she's putting it on, and he's putting it. He's like horned up, but she's like.
I think you're forgiving, but okay.
No, because you can see the switch in her face. Because I just rewatched the scene.
Oh, fair enough. You did do this for a second time.
I did almost the full thing for a second time.
Oh my goodness gracious!
You can see her like, all right, fine, I'm gonna start seducing him. But then after like he touches her and like, oh yeah. My gaping wound.
Yeah, a giant hole in my gut.
And like she kicks him out and gets him some new clothes. She starts talking about like he has the map, and she's like, yeah, like we're all right. We'll try this other way instead.
Yeah.
Fast forwarding, I say, mutineers led by Scully send Morgan, Glasspool, Blair, and Bowen and others away on a longboat in the storm. Willie frees himself from captivity, which Morgan had sent him to after she caught him with the part of the map that he was hiding from her uncle Mordecai. And he jumps out after them, but misses, and longboat gets just like wrecked in like seconds afterwards on some like bad rocks. Next day, they somehow drift right onto Cutthroat Island.
Convenient. Guess it wasn't that far away.
What luck! Without the third of the map, they don't know where to start looking, so sure was nice of the mutineers to leave Morgan's gang with all their weapons and equipment.
Yeah.
I'll say that much. All pretty stupid stuff, but hey, we're at the island. Who cares? Let's just get to the island.
Sure.
This is like one of those parts like, yeah, I could have used another pass on this part of the script. This is...
Yeah, literally, what's our plan? We're going to wait around and wait for them to show up.
We're sending you to a longboat to die, but here's your swords, here's your all the other stuff that you'll need.
We'll give you a chance. Go.
Yeah, no compass, but yeah, you can still have water. I'm like, what? Why? All right.
Makes you feel better. Sleep at night. I gave you a chance. You're fine. It's dumb. Dumb.
All right, yeah, now I'm fast forwarding just the final fight.
We're doing action, so that's what you gotta do.
I mean, you could have talked about them hanging over the cliff, but
there's some rope stuff.
It is legitimately them hanging off a cliff, but they just edit out the safety wires and stuff.
Right, and they fall. There's a fall.
So throughout the whole movie, they claim that the Reaper is bigger with more guns, but
it's heavier, but they look exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Thank you.
Yep.
But anyway, explosions!
They match up perfectly when they're next to each other. Yeah. Lots of explosions. Explode!
Lots of fun Errol Flynn swings. So, like...
Oh, yeah. But to a point where I'm like, I'm losing the geography of stuff.
I got a little confused on Modine's.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait a minute. Are you just going to stern to mass or whatever, and then crossing? Is that what's going? Like I had to
on the Reaper the whole time. I was a little confused. I was like,
the whole time?
Yeah, the whole time he's on the Reaper.
Oh man, so yeah, I was lost. Yeah, I was like, what? Okay.
He does two big swings and he stays on the same ship the entire time, which is odd. But you can't worry about it too much because in a second you have Morgan doing a really shitty zip line where she's like a half foot off the ground and stays on her ship the whole time and takes like one wild shot off screen. And
the zipline looks so unnatural to the
so
surroundings. Bad. It's like, ugh.
She's like, she really does look great in a sword fight, though.
Yeah, again, this is where we get her best sword fighting.
Yeah,
it's
Morgan
the most fun.
Do like a big arrow flint swing over to the other side, over to the Reaper, and she gets to fight 6 guys in a sword fight. It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a really great sword fight,
and it's quick. It's not slow, and it's it's bang bang, and it looks good.
And she's doing like some serious moves on like Conan, who is just like one shot dead. She's like, no, we're actually fighting, and I'm spinning and shit. This is swordsmanship. And then she does like a flip off the rudder deck or whatever.
Kind of ridiculous.
I thought the flip was cool.
I thought it was ridiculous.
It's a little extra, but it's cool.
It's a bit, that wasn't necessary.
An oddly small explosion for when Morgan sets off the black powder underneath the Reaper.
Yeah, like I thought that was going to be ginormous, and it's like, oh no, that was like. Everybody kind of looked around, like, was that an earthquake? Like, it was like barely registering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
No, like
we've seen smaller than that do way bigger.
I mean, that's just laughing at the chandelier stuff. Like,
right? It's just like
a little barrel of like ale and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this movie picks and chooses where it wants stuff.
Explosions happen when we want them to happen. Explosions. Yeah. Betrayal of the chain whip. Poor Snellgrave misses and attaches himself to the anchor, and
there's
cuts it, sending the anchor
too
down.
Much time between the last time we had good chain whip and this time. Because when the chain comes back, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about it. This is great. Oh no, like this it goes down too quick. Like there should have been so much more fun here.
Chain whip back, chain whip gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you get the final fight between Morgan and Dog. And
oh boy.
I'm not sure why Morgan thinks a fight in the crow's nest is an advantage for her, but it looks cool.
I mean, it looks cool, but it's just like okay. So what would have made sense is if she lost her swords.
And went up there. Yeah.
I then need to run away to go up there. But no, she did not lose her swords. It's just like, we're just going to randomly go up here because maybe he's old and his footing won't be as good. So that's why I'm going up. That's the only way I can bring any kind of logic into it.
No, you're young and more agile. You should stay on the flat ground where you can move around a bit better. Like, no, we're going up onto the crow's nest. Like,
where it's equal footing, basically.
Don't do that.
Maybe you have slightly better balance. It's just bad.
Yeah.
It's just like, because that was like an immediate reaction, like, why is she climbing? Why? Like,
but no worries. Dog gives her the Vader offer.
Right, of course.
So you're the only one worth anything. Join me.
Yeah, because I mean, like, why at this point? She's clearly done for. Like, at this point, you have the advantage. Like, so I guess he does like her family. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird moment.
He's like, yeah, the rest of my family weren't worth anything. You are. Join me.
Yeah, because he does. I guess he does call her clever a couple times earlier, but still, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a weird moment.
She rejects, so he cuts the line that she's hanging on, and another bad-looking fall. But she survives by landing on some tarp that's sort of like angled down or whatever. So she's just gonna.
Yeah,
so that's where she's. That's where she's holding her side. She's like,
Matthew Modine, you're here. Yeah. Like, I really need help.
No, she knew he was already there from before because like she left him.
Oh, that's right. It's just like, you still need help, right? I still got to go do something. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Keep dying.
I am much closer to drowning now. If you can help me.
I'm very badly burned.
So yeah. I also want to point out how cool Dog's sword is. Just like this.
Again, just want to put it out there again.
Really cool. Really cool sword. Sorry, that's where I wrote it down. Is how cool.
So this is when she does, I guess, a setup off camera that.
Well, no, it's mostly on camera. Like she knows the cannon is covered up, and then she starts like.
You did a rewatch, so you probably know better.
Yeah, she notices the cannon is already there, so she starts walking away from it, and then. Luckily, he appears from that side of the ship.
Right.
And then so she starts backing away, waiting for him to get exactly where she wants him to be, standing in front of the cannon. And that's where she lights the cannon and says, "Bad dog." And my man gets a cannonball in the stomach, which sends him from one end of the ship to the other, like out.
Yeah, out of the ship.
Boom!
Just out of the ship. Like, this is full on comic book, like Looney Tunes. Like, it's rough.
All right.
It's pretty bad.
I laughed. I enjoyed
it. It's bad. It's so bad. No, it's trash, man.
Bad dog.
It's real bad.
I enjoyed it.
Oh man. At this, you know what? It would have made it better if we had more of like a Goro moment. You know what I mean? Like, just ham it up more at that point. Just ham it up more.
I would have fucking died there.
I would have liked it then, like, or a little bit cheesier delivery from Gina Davis maybe in that moment. Just like, if you're gonna do this, you got to go for it, and it's just awful.
Anyway, so then she saves Shaw. They go up top of the ship and jump off right before the entire ship.
And they really take their time. It almost seems like there's like a cutaway of like okay, why aren't they jumping yet? And it's almost like there's something behind the scenes going, no, hold on, we have to wait for the right time.
You're right.
It's like all my movies end this way, baby. You know, like Austin Powers, it stops at 1. Like that's
perfect the dive.
Yeah.
In position 5, 4.
Yeah. Now do it. Swan dive.
Yeah. But it's a seriously amazing explosion. Like, that ship blows up.
It's a great explosion.
But
awesome. Again, it's sandwiched in like, just what are we doing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, at that time, I'm like, who cares? God bless Rennie Harlan's distaste for miniatures. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're gonna go for it, right?
Yeah. Let's blow up an entire pirate ship that we just built up.
Yeah.
So I gave this category a 3.5.
Wow, that's excessive. I went
2.5. There's some stuff in here where I'm like, wow. I can't believe you did that.
Everything is sandwiched in terrible. Is the problem. There's moments of like, oh, that was pretty cool, but it's always smashed up with some bad dialogue or stuff that makes no sense.
That's not the action's fault. I'm not blaming that. You can't blame the dialogue on the action. That's not fair.
It's when it sucks me out, I'm out. Like, I don't like. Yeah, there's a couple times where things are cool, but then you get some nonsensical things
But I like the nonsensical things, like explosions. Let's go.
But there's no consistency in it, and it's just I had a hard time being sucked into it. There was too much stuff that sucked me out, so I went 2.5.
I was just laughing like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess so.
Chandeliers regularly cause that kind of giant explosion. That's great.
Sure, right? I mean,
let's blow up an entire pirate ship.
We just gotta wait, and they'll get it right with Pirates of the Caribbean, and then ruin it for the rest of the franchise. But
supporting characters. So Matthew
Modine
as William Shaw, or Willie.
Right. He is a thief that somehow learned some Latin.
And many other things.
And he seems to like higher society, but they didn't want him.
I got really angry in the beginning watching his first scene.
That's fair.
Where he's like, seducing the homely rich girl. It's just too cute and winky. It's more appropriate for Disney's Three Musketeers kind of thing.
Right.
Versus actually Disney's Three Musketeers had more sex involved in this than this movie did. Like behind the lines of intentions. Like this guy's like, yeah, it's just like, and it's not. I know it's not his fault because he produces real sex chemistry with Gina Davis.
Right.
Like, I couldn't help but thinking if Antonio Banderas played this part or Carrie Elwes even.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Some of that has a little bit more.
I would have, if I don't believe that he is trying to fuck this girl, then it's the scene doesn't work as well. It's just weird.
Right. He's like almost 2G for it.
Yeah, well, no, in that scene, but then he's like, when the scene's with Gina Davis, I'm like, okay, so this is clearly a direction issue.
No, I mean like his character in itself is like 2G. You know what I mean? Like It's like he needs to be a little bit more of a bad boyish at times that he doesn't really.
This is where I have issues with Rennie Harlan. Like, you messed this up. This is not Modine's fault because I know he does better work later on in this movie. This sucked.
Or in other things, like Matthew Modine's like a good actor. Like I like him.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no doubt. This is where I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't just miscast. This is just misdirected. This is not right.
That's why I think it's a combo here between directing and writing. It's just
writing for sure.
sure.
Anyway, Shaw is a poor guy masquerading as a nobleman doctor, but is really just a con man and a liar. Quick thinker and has some skill with the sword.
And is fascinated by Morgan for whatever reason, I guess, because he's never met a woman like her. I guess it's just the gist.
Speaks something Latinish, and then he speaks something in Latin, and she's like, "What did you say? You're a very beautiful woman, and I'd like to wash your feet." And like, nobody reacts to it. It's just like,
yeah, this is weird.
Were they not on screen at the same time? Were they in different rooms? It's just weird. And we got Gina Davis saying like, "You like to wash things, do you? Start with your mouth." And like, you can tell she's kind of into it. But I'm surprised like Glasspool and like Bowen, who are right next to each other, are just like, "You guys aren't gonna just Van Damme.
We're just gonna
here,
let
huh?
him. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Ignore everything that's coming out of his mouth. I guess
It's a weird seduction.
Yeah.
I really like the quicksand scene for him.
Yeah.
The little gasp he gives when he starts going.
Yeah. That one's good. I
really
agree.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, did best he could. He obviously didn't have a ton of time, and I think he had some inconsistent direction in scenes.
I agree with that. He got himself in decent shape. Like, it's not like he was awful in what he was asked to do action-wise by any means. Nothing really memorable either, but
I'll tell you what, I couldn't picture Michael Douglas playing this part.
I think there's times where I could picture it. Like
I could picture Romancing the Stone era Michael Douglas playing this part, not 1995.
95. I was wondering that too when you said it. I was like, this is we're getting a little past that point. But like him in his prime doing the beginning thief thing with that woman.
Yeah.
That would have been like prime Michael Douglas could have like grand slam out of the park.
Yeah, this is like
in that moment.
The American president, Michael Douglas. Like,
yeah, it's a weird fit for the age.
It's not gonna work.
But in his prime, I think he would have like devoured this role because he would have nailed that whole like bad guy, but you can't help but his swarmy chemistry, and again, it's Romancing Stone. Like that's like
Romancing Stone is amazing, but
if he was able to put that character into this, like that would be great. But yeah, I get you. Matthew Modine was not necessarily bad. It was just again weirdly done. Like it was just weird what was asked of him, and
I think what it
all
was
over
asked
the place.
Of him.
Yeah.
John Reed, played by Maury Chaykin, who is on Morgan's pirate ship so he can write about pirate adventures.
Yeah.
I wonder if whoever wrote this character really enjoyed Saul Rubinek's character in Unforgiven.
The whole point of this character was just so he could make a one betrayal decision to
Did we ever
get
see what
the
happened
British
to him
to show up
afterwards?
I don't. If you did, it was quick. I don't think you get much.
He's cornered on Port Royal by Ainsley, the governor, who
because he's supposed to be a little bit of wimp. Oh, you go do that. I'll be over here in the library, and I don't want.
Well, he's just there to record the pirate adventures, so he can write his book.
Well, at first it almost was something funny because he was getting drunk with her,
trying to convince her you don't want to be a pirate. Come with me to London. We'll have fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, the governor of Ainsley of Port Royal wants a split of the treasure, or Morgan or Morgan and John will be hung. Once the location of Cutthroat Island is figured out, John writes the location down and releases a carrier pigeon in the middle of a storm.
Yeah. And he just happened to have the pigeon, too.
Bird ain't flying through that shit.
Yeah, it was impressive. It was impressive.
Bird ain't doing that. Anyway, it's nice to see more.
And then they have this stupid joke, too. Like, oh, like a little birdie told me. Ha!
Anyway,
although I gotta say, I thought he did like swarmy British guy really well.
You're talking about Ainsley, yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty good. Like I was thinking full on Always Sunny, surrender. Like I was just.
Well, you know where you know him from.
I definitely know him from a bunch
First
of
off,
different
he's
things.
in Long Kiss Goodnight. He plays Perkins.
Yeah.
He's the one of the bad guys. And secondly, he was in the very beginning of World Is Not Enough as like the banker or whatever who gives Bond the money, playing a Frenchman there in a Spanish bank, I think, or maybe he's playing Spanish. I don't know. Anyway, you have baby Christopher Masterson in this movie playing Bowen.
Oof.
He's real bad, huh?
He's real bad.
He's not up for it yet.
There is. I think there was only really maybe 1 to 2 scenes that he had like more than a line at a time.
I don't see the point of this character at all.
At all. Like his big
just...
moment was him again running away and after getting beaten up, but he comes back to stab a guy in the leg to save one dude.
Yeah, I guess.
And that was his big moment. And I guess it's like, wait a minute, is he less of a wimp because he stabbed the guy in the leg behind his back?
Yeah, no, every time he gets into an actual sword fight with someone, he drops a sword and runs away or hides under something.
Right, or Gina Davis has to come save him. And it's just like... So that's why I was like, I don't what is this guy's arc? What is this? Like,
well, the good news is...
I'll just stab guys in the back while I'm crawling on the ground. That's what I'll do. Like, I found my place. It's like, what? What is this?
Well, the good news is Malcolm in the Middle is on the way. So, things work out.
For sure. But this was unfortunate.
Shout out to Stan Shaw, Monster Squad alumni. Having a lot of fun with his accent as Mr. Glasspool. Pretty much a nothing character, but happy he got that check.
Sure, keep collecting those checks, but it was definitely a...
Morgan.
I support you and everything. Oh, Morgan. It was like, oh, God, okay. Yeah.
Hey, he was trying something. I wish more of the Americans had tried something.
I guess that's true.
Speaking of not trying something, Rex Lynn as Quartermaster Blair can only hold back his Texan accent for so long.
Yeah.
It's really weird, like later in the movie, where he's the guy who takes the shot to save Shaw.
What? Yeah, why?
I don't know. It was really weird.
It's so random.
But the longer this movie went on, the more he got to talk, the more Texan he sounded.
Like there should have been some kind of relationship there of like almost a surprise. Like, oh, I thought they hated each other. Look, he saved him because maybe he kind of secretly like, you know what I mean? Like there was nothing there to like make that make sense.
Yeah. Anyway, Texas didn't exist yet, so very funny.
Yeah, I kind of like some of the fight sequence with him at some point at least with the steering wheel stuff on the ship. I was like, oh, I kind of,
where they're breaking arms and necks. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Harris Yulin, the judge from Ghostbusters 2. It's Tim knows him.
Yeah,
as Black Harry Adams. Always like that dude. Cool voice. It's like an American Ian McShane.
Oh wow, good pull.
Thank you. I'm just gonna let it for a second. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Like I totally. As soon as you said, it, I was like, "Whoa." I kind of want to watch Ghostbusters 2 right now.
Okay. All right. I was hoping for something with Ian McShane. Maybe Deadwood.
Well, I do need to go back to that show at some point. I had to stop watching because the wife didn't like all the cursing.
Do you remember that line from Scrubs? He's like, I just started watching Deadwood. Did you know cowboys cursed? Really?
So true. By the way, remind me, I gotta finish Severance. I gotta talk to you about it.
Yes. Everyone should watch Severance. Season 2 coming soon.
And Silo.
You watch Silo?
I started. Yeah. I go. We'll talk later.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone should watch Silo. Season 2 coming soon. Finally, and definitely least. George Murcell as Mordecai Adams. Not great. Easily the most like nothing performance in this movie.
Were they just trying to say he's like retired and drunken at some point, and that's why he was acting the way he? It was rough.
Tim, take a drink because I'm about to tell you something that's gonna make you very sad.
Oh no.
Originally, this was supposed to be Oliver Reed.
What?
Oliver Reed was there. They casted him. He was going to do this little cameo part. Oliver Reed had some drinks during pre-production. And he had some ideas.
Oh, no.
So...
Oh, no.
His drinking was just a little out of control at the time. But Matthew Modine said it was fine.
He got in character too much?
Matthew Modine said it was fine, and he defends him to this day.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, yeah, he might have slapped Matthew Modine. Matthew Modine holds nothing against him.
And defends him, so wow, okay.
He thought it was being playful because Matthew Modine went up to him, and obviously Oliver Reed was already in his drink. And he's like, who are you? Are you a spy? He's asking him questions and stuff, and he gave him a little slap on the face, and like, Modine thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
But then he goes on to insult Rennie Harlan at some point, apparently. Like, questioning him, like who he is as a director, because Oliver Reed is an alcoholic and not familiar with anything. And he's supposedly, some stories say he exposed himself to Gina Davis. Heard different tales of it being a mooning or flashing his dick. Might be the latter, because I read a story that he thought it would be cool if his character's part of the map was tattooed on his dick, since his brother's was tattooed on his head.
He is taking some liberties.
I don't think he meant anything bad by it in his alcohol fuse, but anyway, like I said, Matthew Modine defends him. He says like it was innocent, and I think he's like, they were worried about him acting everyone else off the screen. Like maybe. I'm going
sure.
maybe on that, but regardless, all I can think about is like, man, if we had Oliver Reed in this scene, just like Oliver Reed playing off of Frank Langella for a couple of seconds, like I would give anything for that.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. You know what? I'm immediately thinking like Gladiator, and like I just like that's kind of where I'm going.
You gave
with,
me queer giraffes.
That's the line I was thinking of too. It's epically great, and I kind of wish that was in this movie.
Yeah. Me too. So I gave the supporting characters a 2.5, a kind one, but mostly for Matthew Modine.
Nice. Yeah, man, a 1.5 is what I went.
Final score of a 12.5 for me.
That is high.
I think this movie is fine. There's stuff in here.
So this is your number one movie?
Between Sudden Death and Mortal Kombat? Yeah.
You're high.
Well, it's not going to be in the top 5 at the end of this thing, so don't worry.
I'm still upset.
I appreciate what it's going for. It set out to make a pirate action movie. It is a pirate action movie. It's not a great one.
Like, what else is it going to be?
Hey, well, you know what? It hit all, like okay, yeah, you had to hit all the place marks. I'm like, yeah. There's treasure, there's, map, there's, pirate fighting, there's, running through the street fighting. Like, okay, yeah, there's just set pieces. This is fine. This is good. Unfortunately, there's a lot of dialogue that is awful, and there is a lot of
awful
plotness that just like doesn't quite
just generally awful. There's just a lot of awful.
So yeah, it only gets a middling score. It's a middling score. Like it's slightly up. We score out of 20, so getting me to 12.5 is like, yeah, it's fine. It's like a 2.5 out of 4
I don't
stars.
think it's fine. I don't. I think I can't say that there's anything here that I think people like. Yeah, you know what? Go watch this movie, everybody. Like there's some good stuff here. You're gonna have a good time. Like, no, I don't think that at all. Like, I think you could pass. Like, I don't think there's enough here to make this worth it. And so I would say there's more worth it, obviously, to Sudden Death and Mortal Kombat. So that's why I think this is nuts. But
I've been trying to retract. I've been trying to stop doing the Roger Ebert stuff. Just because.
Oh, really?
Well, I started listening to the rewatchables, and they do that all the time. Like, okay, I don't want to just copy another podcast.
Fair enough.
But I did have to. Roger gave his 3 stars out of 4, and he's judging the movie on its own merits. And it's like, this is in short a satisfactory movie, but it doesn't transcend its genre, and it's not surprising or astonishing. I saw it because that was my job, and having seen it, I granted skill and awarded 3 stars on that basis. But unless you're really into pirate movies, it's not necessarily film. Sorry.
That's such a weird review.
I'm kind of like exactly where Roger is, but I'm like, yeah, but just a little below the 3, I think.
I just think there's so much more worthwhile in the other 2 movies. But all right, I just oof.
Body mass alone.
Body mass alone, Patrick.
Body mass alone, Tim.
I don't want to have conversations anymore about dudes' physiques.
Dennis,
And whether they can...
body mass alone.
That's what I was trying to avoid. A conversation about body mass, okay?
How do you rate this on a scale of 1 to Predator? Body mass alone.
It's a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much beef in this.
There's not a whole lot. I mean, to be honest,
No one's doing the roids.
I feel like, to be fair, if you did see more revealing, not that I needed to see more, not that Gina Davis is not gorgeous, she is, but I feel like she was in really good shape, that you probably could have showed her kind of guns off. Like, I think she was that good a shape for this movie.
She's not in long kiss goodnight shape, but yeah.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you probably could have had something like there, maybe. Matthew Modine was in all right shape. You probably saw the most of him. But you're not seeing like guns. You're not
I think
really
the
seeing
biggest
muscle
guns go to Frank Langella in his murder vest.
in his murder vest. But he loves this.
I love it.
And that's about it. Like,
Just a 1.
It's a 1. There's not much here.
Oh well. On to the next one.
On to the next.
So one last quick thing I want to point out.
Yeah.
I really got annoyed every time they raised the Jolly Roger on the Morningstar, because it looked like something they just wrapped off of a mini golf course, like fresh and brand new. I'm like, ugh, let's not do that again.
Yep.
But other than that, I covered all the other stuff I more or less wanted
Kind
to
of the
cover.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the Carloco stuff. Carloco did the first 3 Rambo movies: Field of Dreams, Total Recall, Terminator 2, Basic Instinct, Universal Soldier, Cliffhanger, and Stargate, and Showgirls. And Showgirls in this movie killed the company forever.
Man. But yeah, definitely some classics in there. Some like great movies.
And this doesn't even come close to covering it all.
Yeah.
So this movie had a budget of $98 million, which in today's money is a little over $202 million.
Dang.
A worldwide gross of a little over $10 million, which is about $20.5 million today. And I already covered this on the Sudden Death episode, but debuted at number 11 in its debut weekend.
That's really bad.
Losing to Waiting to Exhale, Grumpy Old Men, Sudden Death, Tom and Huck, and Dracula Dead and Loving It.
It's so weird. I saw this movie in theaters.
Yeah, the buzz had been covered. The bad buzz had leaked out about like trouble production, and just like today,
I was like 9 years old when I saw this movie, and I thought it was bad.
Yeah, I guess you were. Yeah, the trouble production, and once that starts leaking out, like, oh, it's not good. It's like Solo. Like everyone heard like the commotion among Solo, and like Solo, like, oh, terrible, tragic. Like, and you just watch the movie, like, this is pretty good.
Yeah,
this is fine.
I'm also a Solo defender. Like,
So that's kind of feel about this movie. It's like one of those, like, oh, like the trouble production rant on it got so bad, like nobody showed up to see the movie. I'm like, the movie's not that bad. It's fine.
It's pretty bad. It's
right up there with Solo for me. You're like, it's fine.
No, I would rather watch Solo than this movie.
Yeah, I probably would too, but still.
Yeah, there's again the dialogue alone is just, it's really off-putting.
Yeah,
It's rough. Yeah, I know. I'm not. Thank you. So anyway, interesting. We both have Mortal Kombat 2. We have Sudden Death and Cutthroat Island swapped. So it's interesting.
Stand by it.
Same. Okay.
All right.
So it's your pick, right? Because I did Cutthroat Island.
Yes.
I went with the bad.
Tim,
Yeah.
get ready to ride it. It's time for the money train, baby.
Oh, woo! You almost had me. You had me there. Oh,
Come on,
man.
ride the train and ride it.
Ride it.
Come on, ride the train. It's a choo-choo train.
I'm excited to revisit this movie. I don't think I saw this movie since it's like what was it, like an HBO run that was like epic back in the day. I feel like
HBO or Showtime, one of them.
One of those, and we watched it. I feel like all the time.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, the cast is fantastic.
Early J-Lo.
Yeah. But I always really dug this movie, so I don't know if I've seen it probably since the 90s. So I'm curious to revisit. Like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Always bet on black. Different movie, but still.
I was just thinking about Passenger 57. I was trying to remember. I was like, what year did that movie come out? Because I also like movies like not really that good, but like I watched it probably way more than I should have in the era.
92.
92.
Which you wouldn't let us do.
I stand by it. I couldn't do.
I'm happy we get to do a Bond movie this year, so I'm happy. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go. So
and
there
four Christopher Lambert movies.
I didn't even know he ever had that much movies. So okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm really not looking forward to one of those. Anyway.
Any of them? All right.
Well, I was excited for Mortal Kombat and to revisit Mortal Kombat. I'm really not looking forward to Highlander
3.
Yeah, I remember we went to the theaters. I think it was you, me, and Mom that went to go see it, and I remember being like so excited for it, and rewatching the movies and
the movies.
The two movies.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Problem is like the second one is so god awful terrible that the third one looks fine.
Well, you know what's weird? Like there was elements of 2 that I really loved, and didn't realize till older that the movie's not good at all. But there was still I still love like that one action sequence where he goes from old to young, and like I love this scene so much that I was like, yeah, and I let a lot go and realized later like, oh, this is really bad.
My problem is 10 minutes before that where they're aliens on a different planet. Like,
oh yeah, they changed the whole lore and backstory is completely changed. Yeah, I ignored a whole lot for sure.
Supposedly that's the cut now. It's like they just cut that all out of it. And like, yeah, there are no aliens. How does that movie make sense now, anyway?
I don't care, but I'm cool. I want to revisit this other cut then. I'm curious. But regardless, okay. I remember, it was one of my earliest memories of being angry, watching something I'm excited for that just goes the other way.
Oh, I think you're going to be happier with Highlander 3 than you think.
I probably will in a revisit, so I guess you're right. So maybe I should look forward to it.
Mario Van Peebles, the bad guy? Anyway, we're not talking about that movie. We're talking about Money Train.
Yeah, we're going to do Money Train, which that one is going to be a good time. All right. Anyway, that is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or where you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bros Trip Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
I love it!